All right. Welcome to Thursday. A very special Thursday. It's Thanksgiving Day. And Thanksgiving Day has always been pretty special to me. Maybe my favorite holiday of the year. Got a lot of good memories associated with it. Maybe you do too. And all whatever is coming your way this day, I hope it's a very good Thanksgiving Day for you and today to really give thanks, as we've noted. So, if you got a little bit of time, come on into my little world for a moment. Let's share a thought or two. It may sound kind of depressing when it begins, but I want you to think about something that the Apostle Paul says as he writes to the church in Philippi in the 3rd chapter. In verse 7 he says, "But what things were gained to me, these I have counted loss for Christ." He's going over quite his own history and the things that have been so important in his life and the things that he had valued so much. And those things had, of course I know by his choice, but by confrontation, had been really surrendered, gone from his life. And in that he gained new insight. I want to tell you another story. In the year 2000, a lot of change took place in my life in the year 2000. I turned 45 years old in the year 2000. Now you can calculate my age, and that's just fine. But one day my parents came to town as we were all going to an anniversary party for a couple having their 50th anniversary. And just before we left, my mother looked at me and she said, "Well, you just need to know, I've got a cancer." I could hardly think the rest of the day. Scared me to death. Well, time progressed, went through all the things, surgeries and radiation, chemotherapy, all the things that go into that, went through it, thought we had the thing beat, and then it came back again, went into chemotherapy and roundabout through it all. But I remember on one occasion during that time, when my mother had had her first surgery, my younger sister and I went out to a place to grab a bite to eat while she was in recovery, and my dad stayed at the hospital. And my younger sister looked at me and said, "Why? Why her?" And when the surgery was all done and the doctor came back to us, he said, "Well, we removed the tumor and we removed some lymph nodes, but in the course of time we recognized the cancer had made its way into the lymph system. And over time, even with all the treatments and everything, ultimately it came back, and it came back strong. Treatments continued, but there was no winning that battle. The war was lost in that term." And in January of 2001, my mother passed away. I was just shy of my 46th birthday. And I got to tell you, through it all, I kept feeling sorry for myself. I looked at me and I thought, why this, why this? I could look at things in my life and say terrible things about my own mistakes in life and all, but there was more than that. For why would my mother suffer as a result of my things? She was a good person, a good mother, good wife, good Christian lady. She raised me up in spite of myself, so that can't all be bad. But I want to tell you that just like Paul, when he recognized a great loss, he found there was something really good. And maybe this is something of a message for a Thanksgiving Day. We're in the midst of kind of challenging times, and they're really challenging for me right now. In the challenging times, and probably even more so for you, I don't mean to point myself out above anything. By all means, mine's still pretty awfully good. But I kept thinking about this, and we went through all the processes and the death of my mother and things that went into that, and all the mourning that took place, and ultimately the resurgence. And you know what ultimately struck me? My good fortune, my blessing. For I was as fortunate as a man could be to have been able to have my mother, good lady that she was, for nearly 46 years, to give me all the things that she gave me, along with my dad, all the things that they gave me in life, all the thoughts that are there, all the advantages that I've been able to use in my life to some degree, and hopefully will continue to. It's good fortune. It's a blessing. And while I count great loss the loss of her and still mourn her passing from time to time, I'm still reminded what a blessing it was to have her in my life. As the years went by, my dad and I visited the cemetery many times together, just the two of us. And as we would go away, he would always say, "She was a good mother, wasn't she?" And I'd say, "She sure was." Today on Thanksgiving, on a day that I cherished my mother's meals and all the things she put into them, I remember her. And I thank the Lord I had her for the years I did. Whatever your situation in life, whatever you're finding that may not be as you would want it to be, stop and calculate how fortunate you are to have had all the things that you had that have led you up to this point. Set aside the bad ones and look at the good. And when you're done, count it truly a day of Thanksgiving. I hope it's a great day for you, and I hope the blessings just abound in your heart and your mind today. We'll share some more a little further down the road, Lord willing. We'll share some more a little further down the road. Glad you're with me today, and happy Thanksgiving.